Building an audience is the most dangerous business strategy you can pursue right now. With artificial intelligence generating polished content by the terabyte, the supply of free, infinite media is flooding every feed. The mathematical value of going viral is dropping to zero. So how does a business make money when nobody is looking? For a decade, the formula felt like gravity. You build reach, reach leads to credibility, credibility gets you access, and access leads to revenue. But that sequence is breaking. Companies are spending thousands of dollars on agencies and content calendars, staring at dashboards full of impressions, while their sales pipelines sit empty. For most businesses, attention has become a lottery ticket, a gamble where you pay for reach and hope for a payout, rather than an investment you can control. When content is infinite and free, attention loses its value. In this environment, the scarce resource is access. Access is the ability to sit in a room with the specific person who holds a budget, or the person who can introduce you to their wider network. Top-performing companies handle this through revenue operations, or RevOps. Instead of keeping marketing and sales siloed to chase eyeballs, they unify their teams to prioritize relationships with key decision-makers. Casting a wide net to millions of strangers often results in noise. Engineering a conversation with 3 people who already have the problem you solve creates predictable leverage. This matrix shows a framework used by top operators to score business bets. The vertical axis measures outcome influence, the probability that an action produces revenue. The horizontal axis measures critical path control, how much of the process is in your hands. The bottom left is the gambler quadrant. Decisions here rely on hope or luck, because you have low influence over the financial outcome and narrow control over the levers pulling it. Chasing the algorithm sits in this box. You don't own the platform, you don't control who sees your post, and views rarely translate into checks. The top right box is the visionary quadrant. Here, you have a high probability of producing revenue and wide control over the decision-making environment. Moving into this quadrant involves shifting your focus away from broad distribution and into the room economy. Growth doesn't come from getting luckier with a social feed. It comes from refusing to play a game where you don't control the variables. When Mark Benioff launched Salesforce against established competitors, he didn't rely on broad advertising campaigns. Instead, he hosted private advisory dinners with the 20 chief information officers who held the actual budgets. He ran what we call the invisible pitch. He asked them to advise him on the future of software, letting them complain about their current systems. By dessert, they had convinced themselves to buy his product. At 19 years old, Harry Stebbings used a podcast microphone as a Trojan horse to get billionaire investors into a room with him, bypassing the traditional gates of venture capital. Both operators built a unicorn room. They looked for intent signals indicating someone was ready to talk, and invited them into a recorded conversation to explore mutual value. Neither of these people waited to build a following. They bypassed gatekeepers by engineering the exact rooms they needed to be in. In the room economy, the conversation itself is the primary asset. That is where the revenue is negotiated. It is not raw material for your social feed. This diagram illustrates the relationship between the room and the feed. Revenue is generated in the room. The clips and attention are the exhaust. This byproduct builds a long-term footprint of legitimacy for anyone searching for your name. But the exhaust is a consequence of the strategy, not the goal. This requires moving past vanity metrics like views and followers. These numbers offer a sense of progress that can mask a lack of revenue. The indicators of this shift are the activities that drive it, the number of rooms you hold, the intent quality of the participants, and the access those conversations generate. Stop broadcasting to a feed that no longer listens. Book your first 10 rooms. Take control of your own leverage and let the revenue follow.